Stop waiting for him to prove his feelings. He already did, when he stayed. But you didn't recognize it because you were too busy chasing validation instead of connection. You kept asking, "Does he love me?" while ignoring the answer that was already there. It was in his consistency, in his patience, in his presence. We live in a culture that worships intensity. We think love is supposed to prove itself with fireworks, grand gestures, dramatic confessions, and endless reassurance. But real love, it doesn't audition. It endures. Most women today aren't really waiting for love. They're waiting for evidence. Evidence that they're worth loving. Evidence that they're not going to be abandoned. Evidence that the pain from their past won't repeat itself. That's why proof feels so incredibly important. Because when you've been ignored, dismissed, or replaced before, you crave visible confirmation that this time, you're safe. You need him to say it, to text it, to show it in a way that's loud enough to finally silence your anxiety. But here's the brutal truth. Your nervous system doesn't trust peace, it only trusts patterns. And if your old pattern was inconsistency and chaos, then calm, steady love will feel suspicious. You'll call it boring. You might even say he's emotionally unavailable. But maybe, just maybe, he's just stable. Maybe he has the solid ground you've even looking for but do know how to stand on. He doesn't always express love the way you expect him to, because men, especially emotionally grounded men, don't prove their love through words, they prove it through endurance. When he truly listens to you, that's love. When he stays calm during your emotional storm, that's love. When he shows up for you again and again without needing a performance or a reward, that is love. But you've been taught by movies and social media that love has to be loud, that if it's quiet, it must be absent. So when he doesn't chase you with intensity, you assume he doesn't care. When he doesn't argue back, you assume he's detached. When he doesn't play the emotional games you're used to, you assume he's not invested. But sometimes, the silence you misinterpret as distance is actually emotional maturity. He's not withdrawing from you. He's protecting the peace that you keep trying to destroy with your tests, your comparisons, and your insecurity. He's holding the space for both of you, refusing to let chaos take over. So, I invite you to look at his actions. Not the big, filtered ones you'd post online, but the small, quiet ones that happen every day. He stayed when it would have been so much easier to go. He listened when you were emotional and didn't make sense. He showed up even when you didn't know what you needed from him. He gave you space to breathe, not as a punishment. He chose to protect the connection you share instead of his own ego. That's not weakness, that's masculine devotion. But maybe you didn't notice, because you were waiting for the kind of love that screams from the rooftops, not the kind that quietly stays. You wanted the chase. He offered a steady pace. You wanted the proof. He offered his presence. And you looked at all of that and called it not enough. You dismissed the greatest gift he could offer because it was unwrapped in the drama you've come to expect. Let's be brutally honest for a moment. This isn't really about him, is it? It's about what your heart, deep down, still doesn't believe it deserves. If you believe that love must be earned through struggle and pain, then a love that comes with ease will feel undeserved and inauthentic. If you equate deep affection with high intensity, then a steady, calm partner will feel fake. If you've only ever known a love that leaves, then a man who stays will feel foreign, almost suspicious. You won't know what to do with him. And so what do? You sabotage, you test him, you withdraw. You keep asking, prove it, show me again, say it louder. You push and push, waiting for him to break, just so you can say, I knew it. And eventually, he stops trying. Not because he doesn't care anymore, but because proving love to someone who refuses to see it is emotional exhaustion disguised as patience. There's only so much one person can give when it's never received. There comes a point where a man doesn't say I love you with words anymore. He shows it by staying through the discomfort, by not walking away when you're being difficult to love, by meeting your chaos with his calm. But if you can't recognize that as love, you'll keep pushing him to perform a version of affection that fits your insecurity, not his authenticity. You're asking him to be an actor in a play about your past trauma, instead of a partner in your present reality. You'll confuse his peace for passivity. You'll label his consistency as too safe or boring. You'll find yourself craving the men who argue for your attention, the ones who make you feel anxious, instead of the men who offer their attention quietly and freely. And you'll keep wondering why love always feels so unstable, when the truth is, You never learned how to sit still in something real. You never learned to trust the ground beneath your feet. Love doesn't always come with grand declarations and dramatic fireworks. Sometimes, its most powerful form is endurance. It's not always in the 3 words, I love you. Sometimes, it's in the 3 words, I'm still here. He already proved his feelings, not through the words you begged him for, but through the countless moments you overlooked, through the nights he stayed calm when you were reactive, through the patience he gave you when you shut down and pushed him away, through all the small, consistent acts of service that never made it to an Instagram story but kept your relationship alive. That was your proof. All along, it was right there in front of you. If you still need more, then you're not looking for love, you're looking for control. You're trying to control the outcome to protect yourself from getting hurt again. But in doing so, you're suffocating the very love you claim to want. So please, stop waiting for him to prove his feelings. He already did, when he stayed. Now, it's your turn. It's your turn to believe it, to stop testing it, and to start nurturing what's already there. Because the man who stays, quietly and consistently, isn't the one who's emotionally absent. He's the one who is emotionally anchored. And one day, when you're finally healed enough to see it, you'll realize he was never cold, he was just calm. And that, my friends, is what real, lasting love actually feels like. Thank you for watching the Unfiltered Psychology series for women who think deeper. If this resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content.